Okay, let's jump into it. Today, we're diving deep into a challenge that healthcare providers know all too well, the dreaded no-show appointment.
It really is a big one, a massive drain on resources, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's frustrating, creates bottlenecks, and, well, ultimately it just gets in the way of people getting the care they actually need. And to unpack this, we've gathered quite a mix of sources. We're looking at academic studies, things like why young adults might skip dental visits.
Interesting angle.
Yeah, and articles explaining the power of behavioral analytics, insights from a book on AI in healthcare.
Right.
And even research looking specifically at how effective something as simple as a text message can be.
So a real cross-section of approaches.
Exactly. Our mission here is to pull out the key takeaways from all this material. We want to understand, the true scale of the problem, look at what's currently being tried.
Standard stuff.
Right. And then explore how combining smart technology with a deeper understanding of human behavior might just revolutionize how healthcare gets people to their appointments.
Making it all work better.
Yeah. So let's unpack this. What does the data, across these sources tell us about just how big this no-show problem really is?
Well, the picture painted is pretty stark, actually. One article focused specifically on healthcare data analytics points out that no-show rates aren't a small issue at all.
Okay.
They range from 10% all the way up to a staggering 50% in some settings.
50%, half. That means potentially half the appointments scheduled just don't happen. That's incredible.
It is. And that same source, it puts the average rate in North America at about 27%.
Wow.
Think about that. On any given day, roughly 1 in 4 scheduled appointments missed.
So what does this all mean then beyond just an empty slot on a calendar?
It means a disruption.
Right.
Pure and simple. These missed appointments, they aren't just a minor inconvenience. They significantly impact the overall quality and efficiency of healthcare delivery. Provider time is wasted, resources aren't used effectively.
And I guess it backs things up for other people too.
Exactly. It can lead to longer wait times for other patients who do show up. It's a real systemic inefficiency.
And the sources don't just state the problem. They dig into why this is happening, right?
Yeah.
That study on young adults and dental visits sounds like it has some insights there.
Absolutely. That study is valuable because it goes beyond just assuming people are, forgetful. Looking at 18 to 25-year-olds, it identified a whole range of factors influencing attendance. Things like physical, mental, and emotional stress definitely play a role.
Okay, stress makes sense. What else did they find?
Well, fear of the dental treatment itself.
Yeah, common one.
Limited time. And financial barriers like affordability are also cited. But what really stands out and kind of connects to where we're heading is that past appointment experiences and dental anxiety were found to be significant predictors of future attendance.
So it's a cycle.
It suggests there's a psychological element. Yeah. A cycle where negative past experiences can make someone more likely to avoid or, miss future appointments.
That makes so much sense. It's not purely logistical. There are these deeper human factors involved.
Exactly.
So given these complexities, what's the most common tool healthcare currently uses to try and combat this?
Reminders. Simple, straightforward reminders are definitely the standard go-to.
And the sources confirm they do work, right?
Well, they do.
And SMS text messages seem to be highlighted as particularly effective.
They are. An article from Acuity Scheduling points out that simple SMS reminders are great because, people actually see them.
Right. They cut through the noise.
Yeah, compared to an email inbox, which is often just overflowing, texts have a much higher open rate and, prompt quicker responses.
Was there any hard data in the sources on how much impact SMS reminders can have?
Yes, that Acuity article specifically mentions a healthcare study. I think it found no-show rates were 38% lower in patients who got an SMS reminder.
38%? Just from a text, that's pretty significant.
It really is. And the background section of that dental study we mentioned, it even references mobile messaging as a known tool in this effort.
So clearly effective for a big chunk of the problem. And automating these reminders is kind of the logical next step.
Definitely. Automating these using scheduling software, which is also mentioned in that Acuity article, takes a huge administrative burden off staff. It ensures these timely communications go out consistently every time.
Yeah, frees them up.
And crucially, automation doesn't have to mean generic messages anymore. Modern systems allow for personalization, automatically pulling in details like the patient's name or the specific appointment date and time.
Okay, that automation and personalization are a good start. But if, like that dental study suggests, the reasons for no-shows include things like deep-seated anxiety or past negative experiences or just feeling overwhelmed, can a basic reminder, even if it's automated and has their name on it, really address those underlying issues?
That's exactly the limitation the sources seem to point towards, yeah. And it leads us straight to the concept of going deeper, which is where behavioral analytics comes in. It's the recognition that just reminding isn't enough if we don't understand why someone might be at risk of missing the appointment in the first place.
So behavioral analytics is about getting at that why.
Precisely. It's about understanding why someone might miss an appointment by analyzing how they've interacted with the healthcare system or maybe similar services in the past.
How does that work?
Well, an article on using behavioral analytics for customer engagement, though it's talking generally about business, lays out the core idea. It's about understanding user behavior.
Like what websites they visit.
Yeah, things like websites visited, how long they spend, what they click on, how often they engage with a product or service.
Okay, I see the business angle. How do you apply that principle to healthcare appointments? What kind of behavior are we looking at there?
Well, you could look at their history of keeping or missing past appointments, obviously, but also how they've responded to previous reminders. Did they open the text? Did they click a link? Did they reply? Or even their interaction with a patient portal or a mobile app if they have one.
Ah, okay.
The core idea from that business article, identifying churn or drop-off points in a user journey, translates directly. We're trying to spot the signs that a patient might be likely to, well, drop off before they actually do.
The goal being to identify the risk of a no-show before it happens.
Exactly. It's a shift, isn't it? From reacting after a missed appointment to being proactive and maybe intervening before the appointment date.
Okay, that makes sense for identification, but how do we actually use these behavioral insights to make those reminders? The tool we know does have an impact. Truly smart.
Right. This is where we bring in AI and predictive analytics. These are concepts discussed in the book on AI in healthcare and also that healthcare data analytics article.
Okay.
AI has immense potential for transforming administrative tasks in healthcare, and that includes appointment scheduling.
And the data analytics source specifically highlights predictive analytics as a way to reduce no-shows, you said.
It does. Predictive analytics takes the huge amount of data available in healthcare. And this includes data from systems like electronic health records, EHRs.
The patient's digital chart, basically.
Exactly. Their medical history, diagnoses, medications, all of it, along with scheduling data and that patient interaction data we talked about.
Right.
And uses it to build models that predict the likelihood of a specific patient missing their upcoming appointment.
Okay, wow. So we combine the understanding from behavioral analytics,
the why,
with the predictive power of AI and data to create a truly smart reminder system.
That's the core concept, yeah. It means moving far beyond a generic one-size-fits-all reminder. It's about personalized communication based on predicted risk and potentially individual preferences.
What's really fascinating here is how this data informs the personalization. How granular can that get based on what the sources suggest?
Well, the sources suggest you can potentially use a patient's past no-show history, absolutely, but also their response patterns to previous communications, or even how they navigate and use a patient portal or app.
Drawing from those discussions on patient-facing apps and data integration.
Precisely.
So, okay, if the system identifies that a patient, say, has a history of missing afternoon appointments, but usually keeps morning ones, or maybe they consistently click through on text messages, but seem to ignore email notifications. The system could actually adjust the reminder strategy for that specific patient.
Exactly. That's the idea. Tailor the timing, the channel text, email, app notification, maybe even a call for very high-risk folks, or even the wording of the message itself.
The wording. How so?
Well, this is based on their predicted risk level and their known or preferred communication methods. The sources even touch on natural language processing, NLP.
The AI that helps computers understand human language.
Right. NLP could be critical for potentially personalizing the language used in messages, perhaps making them sound more empathetic or maybe addressing anticipated concerns based on past interaction patterns or known factors like anxiety. It sort of draws on ideas from behavioral economics, nudging behavior based on individual context.
Okay, so we've got the problem, the basic fix, which is reminders.
Which work, but aren't enough.
Right. Then the deeper understanding from behavioral analytics, the why, and then how tech, like AI and predictive analytics, lets us create these really smart personalized reminders.
Puts it all together.
So what's the real-world payoff here? Why does making reminders this smart truly matter?
Well, it matters because the goal isn't just, cool technology. It's about tangible improvements for everyone involved.
For the healthcare providers, it's primarily about efficiency, I guess.
Big time. Reduce no-shows, free up incredibly valuable provider time, and optimize the use of clinic resources. Empty appointment slots can potentially be filled.
Meaning more patients get seen.
Right, more patients get seen, and potentially wait times for everyone can be reduced. It's really about maximizing the capacity of the healthcare system.
And for the patient, what's the benefit for them? Is it just getting the reminder?
It's more than that, I think. For the patient, it's about a better experience. Receiving timely, clear communication that feels tailored to them. It shows that the healthcare provider is paying attention to their individual needs and schedule.
Yeah, that makes sense. It feels less like a generic blast.
Exactly. And that can significantly boost patient satisfaction.
There was a detail in the AI book that really drove this home about improved adherence, wasn't there?
Yes, that was a great example. One source discussed AI being used for follow-up recommendations, which is essentially a type of reminder to continue care, right?
Okay.
A pilot program using this saw a 30% increase in patient adherence to recommended plans.
30% increase.
Yeah. Now, while it's not precisely about appointment attendance, it strongly suggests that personalized nudges informed by data can significantly impact whether a patient follows through with recommended actions. That 30% figure is pretty compelling evidence that this approach works.
It really is. So it's kind of using those insights into human behavior, like the psychological factors in the dental study or general interaction patterns we see online, to proactively support patients, helping them overcome whatever might be preventing them from showing up, whether it's simple forgetfulness or anxiety or just feeling overwhelmed by it all.
Exactly. The SMART system identifies the potential barrier or risk and then provides targeted support to make it easier for the patient to attend.
And the sources even give us a little peek under the hood at what it takes to actually build these kinds of systems.
They do, briefly. The AI book mentions that building these AI-powered systems involve, integrating data from various sources like those EHRs and scheduling systems.
Got it.
Developing the AI and machine learning models, using NLP for understanding language, creating the user interfaces for both patients and providers, and of course, ensuring robust security and privacy for all that sensitive patient data. The technical components are definitely there. It's about putting them together smartly.
So it's not just a theoretical idea floating out there. The architecture exists. And reducing no-shows this way connects to a bigger picture in healthcare.
Absolutely. It's not just an isolated fix for scheduling headaches. It ties directly into larger goals like optimizing patient flow through clinics and hospitals and improving overall resource management. Both areas where the sources indicate AI is already playing a significant role.
And the ultimate outcome, the end goal.
Hopefully better patient outcomes. By ensuring people actually get to their appointments, they get timely diagnoses, treatments, and that crucial continuity of care. Reducing that barrier is fundamental for their health journey.
So we've really seen how taking data about appointment patterns, combining it with insights from behavioral analytics, really understanding the why behind patient actions, and then leveraging the power of AI and predictive analytics can transform simple reminders into smart, personalized tools that are designed to predict and actually prevent no-shows.
It's a pretty significant shift, isn't it, from thinking of it as just a mass communication problem to seeing it as a highly tailored behavioral support opportunity.
Yeah, acknowledging the individual factors, the anxieties, the past experiences, the logistical hurdles that influence whether someone makes it to their appointment. This deep dive really highlights that understanding patient behavior and using technology smartly isn't just about making the trains run on time, so to speak.
Right, not just efficiency for its own sake.
It's about building a more responsive, more understanding, and ultimately a more patient-centric healthcare system.
Well said. It's about using intelligence, both human and artificial, to make it fundamentally easier for patients to engage with their own health and get the care they need.
So consider this as we wrap up. If applying this deeper understanding of individual patient behavior, powered by data and AI, can make such a difference in something as seemingly straightforward as appointment attendance, where else in healthcare could this approach unlock significant improvements? What other points of friction, what other challenges for patients and the system could be smoothed out by really looking at the how and the why of patient interaction?